All right, welcome everybody. Let me get this mic adjusted here. Here we go. All right, let's do this. 3, 2, 1, yo. Oh boy, this was definitely a game. This was an emotional roller coaster ride type of game. 110%, man. This is one you felt late in the game like Arkansas had a good shot of winning. I mean, they were in it. Once again, another fourth quarter loss for Arkansas, yet another close loss for Sam Pittman. I feel like he's about 1 in 50 in close losses, single digit losses. I blame conservative offense in the first half. We'll go into that. I think they played not to lose in the first half. Y'all got me on I'm confused about what the hell they were trying to do in the first half. And we'll get to that here in just a second. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. I do appreciate you. Welcome, if you're new here, to the best post-game show for Razorback sports around. There's not one better. This is it. This is the show. So I appreciate you being here. Like, share, subscribe. Shout out to the sponsors. We'll get to them in a little bit as well. All right. KJ says Alabama had an off day. No, I think it's maybe. We could certainly make that argument. We could certainly say that Alabama overlooked Arkansas a little bit, sure. But this was Arkansas, another example of Arkansas showing us the potential that they have, showing fans, showing the SEC on a big stage on the mothership on ESPN, and still coming up short, still finding a way to come up short. And again, I go back to that first half. I'm still livid. The first half play calling, and listen, it's not all on Enos. It's not. I think, there were several things that he did I thought stood out. That 2-point conversion was honestly chef's kiss. It was brilliant. I love that 2-point, and not just because it worked. It's like that's the guy you want to throw the ball to, the guy with the long arms, the long body, the long torso, and who could stretch it out and make the play. I just want to know where the hell that's been all year. To be fair, Arkansas' second touchdown of the game was a bailout by the Alabama defense, a couple of key penalties. One on third down that kept the drive going. The other one was the PI call down at the goal line. But I thought KJ saw it. He recognized it, and I think that was the target that he chose for a reason, and it ended up as a PI call. I'm telling you guys, the SEC, college football, the entire landscape is just wild. I mean, you saw Stanford last night come back and beat Colorado down as much as they were. What was it, like 20-something points, 23, 24 points? Came back to win that game. It's crazy. I don't even want to sit here and say like I'm not buying any stock in Alabama, because if you struggle with Arkansas, then that's typically a sign that you need to fix some things. But I do think that the second half they played a hell of a lot better football on both sides of the ball. Now, we had people in our Discord that wanted to blame, which is just crazy to me. Absolutely stunning, some of the comments. Once again in our Discord, people blaming the secondary on the year that Arkansas's had, or talking about how it's not the biggest problem, but it's one of the biggest problems. What? Have you watched the Razorback offense this year? Like, pass blocking, running backs picking the wrong lanes, KJ hanging onto the ball too much, wideouts not creating separation. What are you talking about? The defense has kept you in these games. And once again, special teams. Yeah, they had a flag, a pretty big one today, and that's just going to happen. That's Fountain. I mean, it's like you're going to get a good game out of the special teams. A good game out of special teams is what we saw today. Look at what they did in the punting game, punt coverage. I would argue kick return game was a little bit much. They left a little bit. I don't know what they were doing on kick return, and I think that was on Centennia. Special teams kept you in this game. Max Fletcher flipped the field. How many punts did he have down inside the 20? Like 4? I mean, the guy averaged 56 plus yards a punt. You got to give Bama credit on punt coverage. I thought they were great, man. They were not about to let Centennial. Speaking of Centennial, what do you know? What do you know? You get him involved, you can move the ball a little bit. And here we are, how many games into the season? We're just now figuring that out. It wasn't all bad today. Listen, again, I think Alabama, I said it on Friday's show. I said, listen, they had a tough week, and they're getting ready for Tennessee. I do think there was some of this was them overlooking Arkansas. I do. But I also think what we saw today was when Arkansas plays their best, they absolutely can go toe-to-toe with anybody. Unfortunately, Dan Enos can't get out of his own way. KJ struggles. He hangs onto the ball. Pass blocking does what they do best, giving up sacks. How about L-Jack today? 4 sacks by Jackson. I've been saying it all offseason. I said it when they got him here last year. That dude is special. He had an incredible day. He was awesome up front on the defensive line for the Razorbacks. And you think about all the injuries they had, like, How many starters were they missing in this game on defense? Like 3? Some big pieces. Cam Ball unable to go today. We have a super chat. Let's see. Hostile Bogey Inbound. I like that name. Is our OC running from the Tecmo Bowl playbook? That's pretty good. Dan Tanner says king of the moral victories. That's Sam Pittman. That's his career so far. Outside of beating Texas, like I don't know. That 21 season was great. You beat Penn State in a bowl game. He's done well in bowl games. He's gotten Arkansas there technically 3 straight years, even though year 1 I still say shouldn't count as a game that was. Well, I mean, we know they didn't play it. TCU backed out, but I don't know that you count that they deserved that bowl game. Don't give me the, look who they played, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. You don't win half your games, you don't deserve to go, period. Even if you want to give them the Auburn game, you didn't deserve to go. Give them the Auburn game. Give them the 4th win. What's your record? Nobody wants to come to Arkansas as a head coach. Get that firing Sam Pittman out of here, says James, 1977 Razorbacks #1. Sorry, A.J. Green, 7 yards per carry. Yeah, so A.J. Green, well, again, we'll get to all that here in just a second. Remember, if you guys really want your comment read, Super Chat is up and rolling. Make sure you guys like and share. I hate that they give me hope when deep down I know they would still lose. Yeah, I hate to say it, but we've seen this movie so many times since Sam has been here. He does not win the close games. He doesn't. I mean, his record, especially the last 2 years in these close games, have been horrible. AJ Green is underutilized. Let's go back. Also, really quick, shout out to the sponsors. Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. They operate out of Central Arkansas and in Northwest Arkansas. Same-day services, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. That's Direct Service Overhead, the Garage Door Company. 501-244-3667. And, of course, the Odd Soul Craft Bar Pizzaria. Great stuff on tap. Good pies. Great environment. Great staff. The Odd Soul right here in Springdale on Emma Street. Let me pull up my notes. By the way, 6,230 days since Arkansas's beaten Alabama. Today was KJ Jefferson's 33rd start as a Hog, I think is what I heard them say. Hogs got the game off with they started the game with a behind the line of scrimmage throw to Tesla that didn't do a whole lot. And on that same drive, Broden dropped a 3rd and 5 throw, which, okay. And then the Razorbacks, they get a 3 and out on the next Bama drive, and they get Bama back behind the 20. I thought defense and special teams kept you in this game. And those flags on Alabama on your second drive, that was huge. That was a momentum builder. This is where I got pissed in the first half, and I'm glad they got a little bit more aggressive in the second half. But, again, you lost this game by 3 points, and here's an example of how maybe you could have avoided this. Arkansas' second field goal, which was a 49-yarder by Little, was settling for 3 points. If you go back to that third down, He gives the ball off to, by the way, a play that's not worked. That run off to in between the guard and the center. It looks like, I think it's supposed to be like an outside zone run. That line of scrimmage, that side of the ball you've not had any success at. Not that you had, you're still in the first half. That's not been a high yardage play. I think it was 3rd and 7. You were clearly settling for the field goal. You were just trying to get some extra comfort yards for Cam Little, the JIC yards. That's all that was. And you bring Little on. He kicks the 49-yarder. You knew he was going to get it. And kudos, awesome. You got a kicker that can kick those. That's great. Why are you settling? You're not going to get a lot of trips to their side of the field against this defense. At least that has to be your mindset at the time. I don't care about what happened in the second half. They got things going. Again, Bama kind of did that to themselves, but still you were able to ride that momentum and make it a closer game because of how badly Alabama screwed up on defense with those 2 flags on that scoring drive in the third quarter. But you settle off a 3rd and 6. And by the way, you've been throwing the ball pretty well. Not great outside of the Broden drop, and I think KJ had overthrown a couple targets at that point, but you had at least thrown the ball somewhat well. You were connecting. Wideouts were open. You could have done anything. You could have done anything but that. Hell, I almost wouldn't have blamed them for any other call than that call. That call this year has not worked for them. They were clearly settling for a field goal. They were playing not to lose, and not to lose football gets you nothing but moral victories. Okay, this is one of the things that got Houston Nutt fired. A lot of fans accused him of taking over the offense, even when Gus Malzahn was here, you guys remember, and he played a lot of games not to lose. Bielema also caught that. That's what's happened. That's what happened today. We've seen it before this year. They're playing not to lose. You should not. The goal there should have been, what can I do to get in position to score 6? Not, what do I do to get in position to get Cam Little a field goal? I don't care. Against a team like this, against a defense like this, you're not going to get many opportunities on their side of the field, especially when your offense is somewhat moving the ball. You caught a little bit of momentum. You had Alabama on their heels a little bit there, and you decided to just, we're going to go for the field goal. I thought it was crazy. Maybe not crazy. I just thought it was. I don't know, man. It was too conservative, and it's playing not to lose. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of that brand of football. I want to do what you have to do to get 6 against a team like Bama. If this was some horrible shit defense like LSU, maybe I could kind of understand it. But then it's like, well, wait a minute, their defense is bad. Well, why not just try to score 6? I think the same mindset should have been there when you're playing against this rough defense. Tired of soft coaches. I mean, you said it, not me. But that was just not. There's no play with guts, man. Play to win the damn game. And I'm not suggesting that they are playing to lose, but they are certainly playing not to lose. And that's what they did today, and that's why they lost. Arkansas is the Nebraska of SEC football. What's up, the American populace? I'm seeing some new faces. Make sure you guys subscribe. Do a small channel a favor. Do a small business a favor. Come subscribe, like, and share. The first half felt like the coaches were giving up. It felt like they were settling for whatever they could get on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, it was terrible. Second half, they woke up a little bit. Again, you have to give credit where credit's due. Jalen Milroe certainly made some plays. He connected on deep throws. But you know what they did in the secondary in the second half? All that shit people were throwing at the secondary in Discord, where'd they go in the second half? Where'd they go? Are they under my keyboard? Where'd they go? They disappeared. Milroe finishes 10 for 21 for 238 yards and 2 touchdowns. You take away you take away one big play, Arkansas, once again, we're doing it. Once again, we're doing it, man. Take away this play, Arkansas probably wins. Derp. It's so annoying, man. Normally it's flags. Now we're gonna say it's on the secondary, but it is. You gotta give it up to Alabama. They did a good job finding guys open. And guys getting wide open. With the injuries that they've sustained in the secondary, you've got leaders that are not playing. I thought the way the defense adjusted in the second half was fantastic. The way they played in the fourth quarter, and then you had the offense who was able to sustain drives was able to sustain and eat up some clock, let the defense rest, and what do you know? The defense looked even better, and they were able to make the adjustments in the back half of the defense. I mean, guys, this is what is so frustrating about this team. They are capable of winning games. Play like this today, at least on the defensive side of the ball and special teams, and what we saw in the second half on offense, you won't lose a game. You won't. But here's the thing. We know they won't do this. Or at least we feel it deep down in our guts, don't we? It's certainly at the table. It's at the table. The opportunity here of now winning out, and that includes beating, SEC opponents like Florida down in Gainesville. I would still say Arkansas's got a shot, right? They should beat Mississippi State at home. They should be able to beat Auburn, who defensively they're a pretty good football team. On offense, they got a lot of issues. That game's in Fayetteville, and then Mizzou. Mizzou's better than I thought, but they're still not as elite as their fans will have you believe. When Ty Washington is involved, drives appear to move, but they seem to go away from him. And again, you could say the same thing about A.J. Green. A.J. Green has the hot hand. They go away from him. He doesn't get his second carry until I haven't noted here. A.J. Green finally gets a second carry under the 7-minute mark in the third quarter. What did he do? He ran the ball for 10 yards. This is the stuff that just makes no sense. And if had Rocket been healthy, I mean, maybe he would have ended up with the Dubinion amount of carries, but you still feel like they would just go away from him. And Dubinion, it makes sense to go away from. This is what they did. Dubinion, 14 carries, 26 yards. Dominic Johnson, 2 carries for 4 yards. A.J. Green, 6 carries for 44 yards, 7.3 yards. And he had the longest run from the line of scrimmage among any of the running backs, 19 yards. KJ, of course, that play by KJ. See, this is why and I'm not saying that Criswell couldn't do. Maybe he'd be more comfortable in this offense than KJ, but that play, that series, Criswell's not doing that. And this is why Criswell's not playing. Criswell can't do the things KJ can do. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't see Criswell. I'm not saying that KJ's played perfect. He was 14 of 24 for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. But then he also put together some incredible, a couple of really good drives what we saw against KU wasn't an accident. We saw it last year in the regular season and the year before that. He is a tough son of a bitch. He lifts weights. He can make plays. I don't know that Criswell can do that. You could say, well, he's a better passer. Okay, cool. Can he escape tackles? Can he escape defenders like KJ can? Because he's going to need to. That pass blocking does nobody any favors back there. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing. I would like to see a little bit of Criswell at some point. I'm just saying this is probably why you haven't seen him yet. Andrew Armstrong, 4 grabs, 48 yards. Varkey's Gums got to play today. He had that wild part of that play where KJ escapes the Alabama Crimson Tide defenders. They're trying to sack him, and he finds Varkey's Gums, and Varkey's turns it upfield for 25 yards. Why aren't we seeing more of him? Ty Washington, 1 catch for 24 yards. Centennia had 2 for 19 and a touchdown. And Rashard Dubinion had a catch for 14 yards and a touchdown. Really impressed. Again, we already talked about Landon Jackson. God, I mean, it was like him versus anybody, and he was winning, man. I mean, he was winning battles. It was very impressive to see. If we had a mid-tier O-line, we win this game. There's so many woulda, coulda, shouldas, So many ifs. So many if this didn't happen, if that didn't happen, if you're not penalized here on special teams, if only they didn't blow coverage in the second or in the first half and give up some big plays. I picked Arkansas to cover, and I did not think they would cover like this. I was pretty close on my prediction. I think I said 27-13, and instead Arkansas finds a way to score 21 points. Now, someone Friday said Arkansas would score 31. We all kind of laughed and said, yeah, if they do that, they're not losing another game this year, and that means they probably either beat Bama or the defense just really let go. Both defenses really let go, and this ends up being a higher scoring game than it should have been. But 45 total points scored in this one. Again, Alabama with the win, 24-21. McClellan got things going for them. Really, outside of two good runs, Bama averaged about 3 yards a carry. I mean, you take away two big runs by McClellan, but McClellan, you got to give him credit. The dude kind of woke up a little bit today. His longest run from the line of scrimmage was 18 yards. None of their receivers really just, put on a show. And that's what I wanted them to avoid. Now, yeah, you had the 79-yarder by Prentice, sure. And I think he actually got hurt. Jermaine Burton had 2 grabs for 60 yards. That's 30 yards a catch. That's pretty good, right? The thing that hurts you, and this will be the thing we'll talk about all week, it's those 10 completions, 238 yards on 10 completions. Almost 24, it's actually 23.8 according to ESPN, nearly 24 yards per completion off just 10 completions. You hold this cat to under 50%. Jalen Milroe, you hold him to under 50%. Once again, Arkansas's defense shows you the improvement made. 415 yards given up. You don't like that, but how many of those were just from broken plays in the back end of the defense? At least 3 of those big plays came out of the back end of the defense, just not doing their jobs, right? Getting lost in coverage. And I look at injuries, and they certainly played a role. Arkansas on third down, not good, 4-14. Alabama, better, but not much better, 6-14. Neither team went for it on fourth down. Arkansas with just 150 yards through the air at 100 yards exactly on the ground. Just, again, not ideal, but you love that they scored 21 points. You love that Cam Little certainly looked the part today, as he has most of the year. You love that special teams did their job. You love that the defense adjusted in the second half. 0 for 6 in the second half for Alabama on third down until they finally converted their 7th attempt. Just 2 penalties on Arkansas. Just 2. One of them was on special teams. Just 2 penalties for 13 yards. Bama had 5 for 45. These are 2 teams that have struggled with flags. They didn't today, combined for just 7 flags. Not bad. Arkansas actually, they won on time of possession too, 30 minutes, 11 seconds. Yeah, not a great day in the passing game for Arkansas, but KJ certainly made enough big plays to keep you in it, as did the defense and special teams. Nudie was sorely missed. Yeah, God, think about it too. They haven't had Quincy McAdoo. He's out for the year. Dude, they're so banged up. Yeah, you could say it again. If only these guys were healthy, what does this game look like? But Hog fans are tired of moral victories. They're tired of woulda, coulda, shoulda. Now it's time to put up or shut up, and they're going to get their opportunity when Mississippi State comes to town. It's time to take out some frustration, and I hope they do it against Mississippi State. I'm sorry. I know I've got some Mississippi State fans that tune in. Neil, is he in chat? I'm sorry, but I hope they take it out on you, man. They need to open up a can. They need to give this fan base a little bit of hope that maybe they can make a bowl game this year, because I'm telling you, fans have already hit fast forward on the season. They're ready for basketball. David Coleman says this O-line is going to be damn good soon. I don't understand how fans think this O-line can compete with SEC right now. This line had played 7 games together. Yeah, well, I think fans just want to see better play. KJ is pressured. KJ hangs onto the ball too much, too long, but my God, his offensive line does him no favors. Defensive staff made adjustments. They did. I agree with that. There was a comment or a question. I want to find it. I can't find it. Kopesky, did you delete your comment? I was going to read your comment, Kopesky, and I don't see it. Well, I don't see it anymore. MSU is going to beat Arkansas, and Pitt will be gone 20 minutes after it's over, says Kopesky. Based on what you saw today, though, you think Mississippi State's going to roll into Fayetteville and win? That play from KJ was insane. Yeah, it just sucks that it seems like so often when he does make plays like that, they still end up in a loss outside of Kansas. outside of Kansas. Wasn't it Liberty? Wasn't it Liberty last year? You made an unbelievable play, and they still ended up losing that game. The defense held Bama to 3 points. I'm telling you, Hogs, those guys that were hating on the defense, hating on the secondary, they vanished. They hold Milroe to under 50% passing. Again, the thing that chaps your hide a little bit is certainly the 177 yards on the ground wasn't great. And giving up 24 yards per reception wasn't great. But that's Alabama's offense. That's what they are. They're a handful of big plays, either by Milroe on the ground or Milroe on the deep ball, and that's what their offense is. That's all it is. And Arkansas was able to contain it in the second half. They did a really good job. The adjustments were fantastic. I'm telling you, no matter what happens in the offseason, I pray to God they can keep this staff on defense. I've just been so impressed with how they've handled things on defense this year. We went from one of the best running teams to one of the worst. That is correct. You guys are talking about Armstrong. Yeah, Armstrong had 4 catches, 48 yards. That's not bad. I certainly was hoping we'd see more Varkey's Gums today after that big 25-yarder that he had. I was hoping we'd get to see more Centennia, but he only had 2 grabs for 19 yards. Got to see a little bit of his speed. Like, maybe there's a little bit of trust now. Okay, we need to get Centennia more involved. Maybe there's a little bit more trust. I thought he looked great with what little opportunities he's had this year. He's made the most of them. He had 2 kick returns for just 36 yards, 2 punt returns for 5 yards. Again, I thought Bama's coverage team was fantastic. Cam Little, I don't know what else there is to say about this dude, man. 55-yarder. I think he's now 4 for 4 on the year. I want to double-check that. I think he's 4 for 4 at 50 yards. Yeah, that should put him at 4 for 4. It's either 4 for 4 or 3 for 3, but he's perfect at 50+ yards. That's incredible. Your special teams has actually improved. Your defense has improved, and unfortunately, your offense is a shit show. Again, yeah, we have to admit, this is Alabama. This is a really good defense. I agree. And I thought in the second half they did well. But the first half, playing not to lose, is why you ended up losing this game. C- offense. Oh, in the first half. Okay, D- in the first half. Okay. Defense is only going to get better through this year. You best believe that was a confidence booster. Then we probably get Nudie back. Yeah, they got to get guys back. There's no doubt about that. They have to get healthy. It's not going to be easy. But I know saying this, it doesn't seem possible, and yet I think there is some truth to it. You've got the toughest part of your schedule out of the way. It's out of the way. Now you get Mississippi State. Florida and Gainesville's not easy. But they're not Alabama. They're not LSU. And you played both those teams down to the wire at their place. Auburn and Fayetteville, FIU and Fayetteville, Mizzou and Fayetteville. Every one of these games are at the table for Arkansas to win. They're within reach. Do I think they win them all? I don't know. We're going to have to reassess. We're going to talk about it this week. We'll be back on the Monday after show on Monday. No, we're going to do that on Tuesday. Monday after show on Tuesday. Of course it's on Monday. Ty, come on. It is a moral victory. That's Sam's undefeated in the moral victory category, I think. Hoping he can turn it around. I think he certainly can. I do. I believe they can. Could you imagine this team winning out? Boy, that would be something else. That would be incredible. It's tough. They're riding a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game losing streak. I'm telling you, take out some aggression on Mississippi State. Mike Eagle says, I think we win all except Florida or Auburn. I feel bad for War Machine. Yeah, he hasn't published a video in a while. We're close, Ty. I know, and I hate saying that. But like, they've lost so many games. that were within reach. It's like you hate hearing it, but there's some damn truth to it. But you don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear it. You're tired of moral victories. You're tired of it. It was so frustrating. I was livid at halftime, man. Livid. C-Truth says, when people going to realize Arkansas will never win with less than mediocre coaching? Arkansas is in the SEC. Arkansas won't win any of those games. I disagree with that. I think come on, dude. FIU, Mississippi State, Auburn certainly got their issues on offense. They have had their moments where they've looked pretty good. I disagree wholeheartedly. I think they win. They're at least going to win one of those. If not, then yeah, Pittman's gone. There ain't no way. Now, is losing out on the table for Arkansas? I mean, based on how they played against BYU, how poorly they played against an atrocious – what is Kent State, 1-6, 1-5? How poorly they played those guys. How poorly they've looked on offense this year. Yeah, they could absolutely lose out, but I disagree. I disagree if you believe they do. Is it there? Is losing out there as a possibility? Yes, but I don't think it's going to happen. Moral victories are like non-alcoholic beer. I like that we got to see vintage KJ Jefferson in the second half. I like that. I want to see more of that. I hope we do. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I certainly hope that we do. What's up, Kevin Godair? You must be I've never seen you in chat. I don't know if you're new here or not. Make sure you subscribe. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If KB was still here at Arkansas, would be a one-loss team, maybe undefeated. If KB had a DC like Williams, the Hogs would look a whole lot better. 250 yards of offense will get you beat every time. Again, to be fair, Kevin, Alabama's defense is pretty damn stout. And it was impressive what they were able to do in the second half. It was. I'm not going to take anything away from them. I go back to the play not to lose mentality I think they had in the first half. And then they got wise in the second half. They played a little bit more aggressive. I don't even want to talk about what is the attendance of the Mississippi State game. Are they going to break 50,000? I think they will because there hasn't been a game in Fayetteville in a while. I think they will break 50,000 simply because there hasn't been a game there in a long while. One-loss team, no. O-line is too bad no matter the OC. I will say I think the switch in offense – the scheme, the whether it's play calling, whether it's just that they're not what they once were, they're not the veer and shoot. I think that's played a big role in why the offensive line has regressed. I really do. I think these guys were recruited, developed to play in that veer and shoot. I mean, you had Kendall Browse here for 3 years, so who knows? I still think the offensive line, I don't disagree that they'd still have problems, but I think that these guys are probably better suited for that offense. But I also don't disagree that it may not matter because of how poorly they have played. It's like it doesn't matter who the hell's calling plays or what offense they're in. They've looked cheeks all year. And remember, Kendall, it was much faster. It was high tempo. It was quick. It was all RPO. It was very one read driven, get the ball out of your hands quick or whatever you're going to do with it, whether you're going to keep it, give it, or throw it. It kept the defense kind of off balance. It was a different scheme for that offensive line. This is different. This is slower. Technique is a little bit different. 4 to 1K. I don't know what that means. Are you trying to say 41K? Did I say BYU? I meant to say Kent State. by the way. You guys are saying – I meant to say Kent State. Yeah, BYU isn't terrible. What is BYU's record right now? It was yeah. They're playing TCU right now. It's Kent State. Kent State is bad. And Arkansas struggled with these guys. Their only win is against Central Connecticut, where they won 38-10. Other than that, they have not won a game. I mean, they lost to UCF 56-6. Fresno State beat them 53-10. Ohio 42-17. Arkansas 28-6. So I mean, yeah, and I meant to say Kent State, not BYU. They're bad. Ty, why? Capacity years to be more specific, man. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. BYU is going to be 6-1. I've got that game up right now, and as a matter of fact, and TCU's up 14-0, Mike. TCU is if I saw that score right, I think it's TCU 14-0 on top of BYU. So you might want to check your score, bro. You never know. BYU's pretty salty though. Yeah, BYU's getting smashed. Thomas Hawkins says win out. I know we will. Yeah. All right. That is going to do it. I do appreciate you guys. I'm going to hop off here. I'll see you guys on Monday, on the Monday after show. We'll talk about it. We'll reassess. We're going to reassess through the week. Of course, we got basketball coming up soon. That's where everyone's heads are at. I get it. And we're definitely going to talk more and more basketball as we get closer and closer to the season. Really looking forward to it. I think it would be 8-5 if we can take what we did today and move forward, says Blue Kicks. So many mental mistakes this year, mental errors. Secondary, first half, not so great. Second half, they made good adjustments. Was really impressed in the second half. I mean, as a team, I was really impressed with Arkansas. They certainly turned it around. They limited Milroe. They found a way to move the ball on offense. I mean, they showed some guts with that 2-point conversion. That was gutsy. Of course, it was the necessary call that you had to do. You had to make, but it was great. They converted. It was a good call. It wasn't all bad today, but it's still playing not to lose. Playing not to lose is why they lost today. So, and yet another moral victory. All right, that's going to do it. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay out of trouble. Stay away from Dixon Street. Weather's nice outside. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. It's beautiful outside. For me, I love this kind of weather. Bring it on. I'll see you guys Monday.